Okay, awesome, awesome. So one of the prayers that one of my brand partners had that's led me to this call is I want to be a master closer. So, because he's really amazing with sharing the patches. So, it's just maybe that one little component to bring it in. So, I was like, well, who better to bring on than Carl and Kathy to give that perspective? So, so I'm just going to give you guys the floor. And then I don't know if you guys have a few minutes. It's typically just a 30-minute window that I'm here with them. And so, if y'all want to share, if y'all have time for a couple of questions or feedback that maybe some of the brand partners can share, that would be really amazing, but I want to be sensitive to y'all's time. So I'll give you the floor and just let you go now that you know one of the reasons why I have you guys here.
Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Well, Kathy and I are so happy to be with you, and thank you for the invite and your team here of business builders. So, guys, our approach to closing is more like sifting and sorting, and it's not like something that you go out to get that enrollment form and get that application filled out, although that's part of the goal. But maybe a different mindset is how can we best help that person, right? Solve a problem.
Yes.
What are they looking for? Are they looking for a physical benefit primarily, exclusively, or are they looking for both a physical and financial benefit? So the best way and probably the only way to ask that or find that information out is by asking it. So we like have questions lined up for people, depending on who they are in our circle, whether they're friends, acquaintances, strangers, we ask them different questions, and it all starts by starting a conversation. People worry, I think, too much about the perfect thing to say, right? What is the
So
perfect
true.
things to say? And really
There's not a perfect way to do this. There's just
yes,
not. The most important thing is that you say something, right? That
yes.
we all just say something and open our mouths. Absolutely.
So we don't want to jump out from behind a shrub like Steve says and say stem cells, but we do want to start the conversation and just ask them, hey, if it's a stranger, for example, maybe it's a waiter or a service person that's helping you on your home or whatever it is, just strike up a conversation like you would normally. Hey, how's your family? Are you married? Do you have children? How long have you been an HVAC tech or a waiter at a restaurant? Man, you're really good at this. If you can find a way to sincerely compliment somebody, then you gain a friend, right?
Mm.
And encourage them. And then ask them the question, while I've got you here, Bob, you're super sharp. Do you mind if I ask you a question? And it gets him or her to focus. And no one's ever said no. Don't ask me a question. They say, "Hey, yeah, no problem." Well, have you ever thought about doing anything else in addition to um, your HVAC business, or being a waiter or a dry cleaner owner, whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
and see how they respond to you. And most of the time, people are like, "Well, I'm I've always thought of something, I'm open. Why? What do you have?" And then that brings in the discussion about X39 and the opportunity. So, Kath and I have learned that the more you're going to go through a lot of people, you
Yeah.
guys, because it's a timing thing for people.
Yeah.
And the the biggest thing that we can do is build our pipeline, in our contacts and our phone, that's our pipeline.
Pro
And
tracker sheet.
yes,
Yeah. The pro tracker sheet, really important to keep track of the people that you're talking to and what you've sent them and how long it's been since you've sent them something. But I think Carl makes really good points that asking those questions, it's really important. And so were you done with the whole stranger
well,
thing? Because I wanted to, when you talk a
yeah,
little bit about people that
yeah,
friends, family, colleagues, that sort of thing.
yeah. I think even if it's a stranger, an acquaintance, or a close friend or family, I think the bottom line is, as business builders, we're all looking, or we should be, we're all looking for people who are looking for opportunity.
Yeah.
Because if we only get stuck on the patch and the patch benefits, which are, they're huge and they support the opportunity, but if we just get stuck there, what we found is that can be a really slow grind in your business. And so we always like to qualify people to see if they're really open or looking for an opportunity. And that tends to speed up time quite a bit and compound your business. And that's what we're all after, is compounding. If we just go from customer to customer to customer who wants a physical benefit or a health benefit, then it can be pretty slow going. So don't be shy in any of those areas, stranger, acquaintance, or friend, about sharing the exciting opportunity that's tied to this for freedom that they can do part-time on the side while they're maybe working their way out of that career that they chose that they don't like, or that job that is just killing them, that they don't get along well with their boss or coworkers. You need to know that and ask them, and they'll tell you, right? People love to talk about themselves. And so just ask them question. Hey, how's work going? Use the form method: family, occupation, recreation, and motive. Ask about their family and see how that's going. Ask them about work, see how that's going. Ask them what they like to do. They have any hobbies, or they like pickleball, fishing, RVing, whatever it is. And then inside those conversations, you're going to be able to find out um, if they're open possibly to an opportunity. They're going to leave clues, right? They're going to leave clues on what's going on in their life that maybe some extra financial help into the family could be a huge blessing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in answer to specifically your brand partner, Tiffany, who asked, how do I close someone? And I understand that phraseology, but I think it's important that we all kind of remember that this is about becoming and offering a blessing to whoever you're speaking with. So continuing to think about what's in it for them. What's the most important thing that this can do for them? And that will come through if that's your mindset and your heart set, that will come through in how you're speaking to that person. So let's say you've got someone on a Zoom, or you've done a three-way with Tiffany and they're interested, right? Where do you go from there? Well, it really is important to lead them into a decision. Oftentimes people, us included, are looking to be led, to be directed, because let's face it, the world's full of uncertainty, and a lot of people can have analysis paralysis, right? Where they just want to think about it. But you think about it for weeks that turn into months, that turn into, a year. So being very specific and intentional about those questions you ask when someone is, quote, interested. The reality is we all are going to have a lot of people who say they're interested. But Carl always says, and it's so true, you will find people out in this. And so being very intentional and specific then about the questions that you ask, like Carl said. Well, what part interests you the most? Is it the product benefit? Is it the opportunity side? Or is it both? And depending on how they answer, you will know how to direct them. Oh, I'm not interested in the business. I just want the product. How many times have we all heard that, right? And in the back of your mind, you should be thinking, okay, let's meet them where they're at. They just are looking for product benefit right now, knowing that 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, that will likely change for them. But right now, they just want a product benefit. So then you talk about core, right? Or advanced if they're willing to make that financial commitment. And if they're not willing to do either of those, even though we know that's going to get them the best pricing, if they're truly only interested in product, preferred customer is not a bad option. You're going to need preferred customers in your business as the new comp plan enhancements come into play. So think about that too. I'm only interested in product. Great. Always start at one of the packages, because it's really setting them up in the best place financially, because they're only going to pay shipping once. on a 3-sleeve core package versus preferred customer where they're going to pay shipping every month that one sleeve of patches ships. Okay. And then say, have the enrollment form right there with a pen. Carl, the last, we just signed a premium and it was someone Carl's been talking to for 2 years. And when we met with this couple, he had the enrollment form filled out, name, address, everything he knew, email, cell phone, filled out. And we slid it across the table at breakfast and handed him a pen.
Here's the pen. You hold the pen, I'll move the paper.
Right. And we've learned that from Matt Curtis. Matt Curtis is genius at this.
Yeah.
He really will not take no for an answer unless someone absolutely gets in his face and says no. But having that expectancy, and again, it's about, I know what this can do for you. I want this for you, right? That speaks volumes if that's your heart.
Yeah, so good. Positive expectation is huge, guys, because when they see really what positive expectation is by having the form filled out, your excitement level, you're engaged with them, you're excited, and you've got the form filled out and you put it across the table and say, Susie, I recommend the premium pack for those reasons we discussed. But, make a choice, hand them the pen. And what you're doing is you're not being pushy. Really what you're doing is you're showing them your belief level.
Exactly.
You're like, man, they're getting in. And guess what happened? She took the pen and she signed it and finished filling it out.
Yeah.
And it's that positive expectation that people were like, they really believe. Yes, we do. They really believe what they have their hands on is life-changing. And make sure you know the reasons why they're doing it so you have leverage on them to help them. Yeah. Not to take advantage in any way, but to help them in the future. Because if things get tough, you want to remind them of their dream. If they're going through a rut, we all do, you need to remind them, hey, remember how excited you were when you first got in, and remember that dream that I know you're committed to because you told me that this is the vehicle. And so those are some of the tidbits that we found helpful in enrolling people and really getting to the reasons behind why they're enrolling is so important. Yes. So you can best help them.
Absolutely. And when you ask that question, if someone looks at you and says, no, I want the opportunity, I need a way out of whatever it is they need a way out from, or I want both, I want the product benefit and the opportunity, then you're directing them to advanced or premium. And you're always starting with premium. Always, always, always. Never assume that you know what someone can afford. And this is a mistake that I made early on in our experience with this type of industry is, oh my gosh, they would never do that. Don't make that decision for them. Let them make that decision because you don't know what resources they may have available. We just don't know the answer to that. So you always want to start high because really that's the best option for someone who wants to build this business is premium. That's the best.
Yeah.
And then you're asking them if they're still hesitant, either if they're only interested in the product benefit or they're interested in both. And you've got the enrollment form and you've handed them the pen and they're just, then the question that we always ask is, what's holding you back? What's keeping you from enrolling today?
Scale 1 to 10.
You can use that on a scale of 1 to 10. 10, 1, you're never going to do this on any level. And 10, you're ready to sign up right now. Where are you? I'm a 7. Great. How can we get you to a 10? What information do you need to get to a 10? And then you've got a myriad of tools to point them to, right? Don't be the answer. Don't answer all their questions. Say, wow, I can help with that. And, go on the This Is It Team YouTube channel and find a video that speaks to it, or go to This Is It Info and find a tool, find a study, find a video of David that speaks to it and get it to them. And then revisit with them.
Watch with them. Yeah, right. If you're in front of them,
exactly.
Watch it with them. Pull it up on your phone or device and show it to them right there because your goal, right, you want to be efficient and speed up time.
Yeah.
So the goal is to really find out where people are at in the opportunity and the product or both, and then quickly, because the sooner you know, the faster you can help them and the faster you can move to the next person. So if it's just a product benefit, hey, that's great. A lot of builders start out as just patchers, right?
Yeah.
They just want a product benefit. They get that benefit times a billion, and then they're like, I'd be stupid not to share this, right?
Yeah,
And
that
then,
was our story.
yeah,
We got in solely for the product. We were never going to build a business like this again. In fact, when Steve Merritt called Carl, he was on speaker and I was sitting across the room and Carl's, yakking with Steve and I'm going, no,
she's going to do
no. So we get it because that's where we were too. So that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But what we have that is so different is this. This
Yes.
is the game changer. Y'all know this,
Yeah.
right? This technology is the absolute game changer. And so if
So
you
get
can get
through
them
them.
to commit,
Sift and sort
yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
Sift and sort
and don't
quickly.
skip out on anybody.
Yeah.
If they push back and you've asked them all those questions and they're like, they're at a 7 and they can't tell you what they need to get there, say, you know what, that's okay. I'm gonna, is it okay if I follow up with you in a couple of weeks and move on?
Share my progress with you.
Yes.
That's
Love
a good
that.
one. Excuse me. That's a good one. Nobody has said no to a shed about, oh, sure. And that gives them kind of a way out if they're uncomfortable, if they're just not in a place where they can make a decision, no problem. Say, hey, I understand. It's no pressure at all. Do you mind if I share my progress with you from time to time? And that takes you out of the conversation. You guys, if we're talking too much, I fall in the trap of talking about the science a little too much or the opportunity a little too much. And I have to remember that they're sitting there soaking all this in. And they're like, man,
It's a lot.
that's a lot, Carl. I mean, you're talking about, a nano crystal lattice structure and their eyes go cross-eyed. They just, it's better to let the system do it. It really is. And that takes all the pressure off of you to remember it all and to share it effectively and accurately. And it speeds up the share. So there's your efficiency, but it also takes the pressure off your prospect because they can say, man, he didn't hardly answer any questions himself. He just, hey, I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to send you a PDF. Here's what they're making. Well, how are you guys doing in it? I pull up a 1099 or last week's income. And I said, well, here's weekly, here's yearly. What could that do for your family? And then I take the focus off of me because it's about them. What's in it for them with them? What's in it for me principle, right? So you're talking about them and how this could help them. And it's really interesting when you do that, you guys, they'll start spilling it. Well, this is going on, and we'll say, well, what could an extra 1,000 a week do for your family? Maybe you have to go up the ladder a little bit. What would an extra 5,000 a week do? Could that really help take some stress off the family? Oh, absolutely. Well, hey, Susie, I think we can help get you there. I mean, we were doing that within our first year. Does that sound, if it took a year, would that be okay? Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, my goodness, we can wait a year. Right. So focus on them, focus on solutions to their problems and be efficient with your time, because if they're not really open and or looking for opportunity and they're just a product person, that's like one of the first things you got to know and say, hey, no problem. Here's the application. I recommend the core pack or advanced if they're married. And then you're on your way and say, hey, listen, do you know anybody in the family that is looking for opportunity right now? Because Nathaniel and I are really excited about this. And, we don't want to leave anybody behind because they're going to hear about it from somebody else. And I want it to be us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're excited about that. And I don't like to use the word hype, but you're hyping the opportunity up so you can show them how big this is going to be in a very, very short period of time. And excitement sells, you guys.
Yeah.
Except the facts
Belief,
don't.
excitement and belief.
Facts are important, but the excitement sells. And that's what excitement and belief. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
then
what'll get.
one last thing before we turn it back over to Dr. Tiffany, and we'll take some questions if
Sure,
y'all have any.
sure.
But
We have plenty of time too.
yeah,
So whatever you guys need.
I would say if you've got someone that continues to tell you, yeah, I'm interested, I'm interested, I'm really interested, but you can never get them to take the next step, whether that's get on a Zoom call or actually enroll. Sometimes we have to be really honest and bold and ask them, you keep saying you're interested, and I love that, but are you just being nice? Because if you are, that's okay. I appreciate that, but I don't want to waste your time or my time, frankly, because I've got people to help. And so if you're really not interested, that's okay. Can I share my progress with you from time to time? And then move on.
Usually gets them off the fence though.
Or
Yeah.
it gets them off the
Yeah.
fence. Because if you pull it back, hey, maybe this isn't for you. That's okay. No problem. And sometimes what'll happen is exactly that. They'll go, oh, wow, maybe I really do want to take a look at this. So that's just kind of the last thing we'll leave you with. Dr. Tiffany, we'll turn it back over to you. Thank you all for having us today, and we'll definitely take some time for some questions if you'd like.
Yeah, that was excellent. Anybody have any questions or comments or anything that you want to share? Thanks, Nate, for dropping those awesome points in there. So, guys, make sure you're checking out the chat. Is there anything, Honor, Nicole, Tanya, anybody want to ask any questions or any points you want to add?
I will. Thank you, Carl and Kathy. It's always so good to hear from you guys, and it's always so helpful. Um,
Thank you.
but I think one thing too, I will say, and a comment that we get, not often, but it does come up is like, well, I really don't need the extra income, which, that great. I don't know why anybody would feel that way, but maybe it's the I don't want to work for the extra income. Maybe that's more what they're saying. But I think having some stories of like the legacy part of this business and what you can leave in the residual income and just the stories of where that has been a blessing to people has been more eye-opening than just, it's not always about the money, but it's about how can you bless others or your family down the line. And that kind of perspective of just maybe they don't need the income coming in to live day to day, but that bigger vision of legacy and just carrying this on into the future. So I wrote down a ton of what you guys said, and it's always helpful. But I think, when we've encountered a couple of people who've said that too, it's just maybe that point of legacy and the bigger vision as well. So
So good, Nicole. You must have seen Ken Robinson's
yes,
story. Yeah.
yes,
That's
yep,
very, very powerful. And who was that the other day that somebody signed up because of that story? It got them to change their way of thinking
Yeah.
about the
yeah,
future of their family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
good.
believe it. Yep, I believe it.
Yeah.
And that's and we've had a few people that have responded like that to us, that, oh, we don't need the money. Oh, well, great. I'm thrilled that you are set. Is there a charity or a church or someone you'd like to bless? What if you could write a six-figure check to
Right.
your church or a charity of your choice? Or, well, wow, that's fantastic that you don't need the income, but do you know anybody who does? Because you could be such a blessing to them
Yeah.
and help
Right.
them get out of the financial pit that they might be in. So yeah, those are really, really good points, Nicole.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll find people are allergic to money,
Yeah.
to work, to opportunity, to anything that's new, different.
Out of the box.
So you're
Yeah.
going to find people out in this. And it's what's so fascinating about this as you hone your skills and you are listening to people talk and what they're saying and what you're observing about their life. It's like, oh no, I think they really could use the money.
Right.
They really could use the money. But and that's okay, but we don't want to convince them because they may have some stinking thinking
Yeah.
like I used to have in the past about opportunity and about people. So sometimes pain changes things for people. It's oftentimes what it is, what the Lord uses is as a wake-up call to, hey, we've got to get this situation handled for our family. But you're planting a seed,
Yeah.
and it's so important because you never know. It could be the next minute or the next year when that pain comes or that change comes for that person, and they get that wake-up call like, uh-oh, we really have to look at something else because the job, the career is not working like we hoped it would. And so you be that seed planter and watch what can happen.
Yeah.
And on good soil, right? I like the parable of the sower, that he's out sowing seeds. And what was it? The rocky, he threw some on the rocky soil, and he threw some on good soil, and the birds got some,
The
and
weeds choked some.
the weeds choked some.
Yeah.
But if you get some seed, and the truth is, you don't know really what that good soil is until you get in a conversation with somebody to see if they're really looking. But it's out there. The good soil is out there. People are looking, and they're really hurting right now in our country. And we have the answer for them, guys. So
Keep planting.
keep planting those seeds,
Amen.
watering them. Yep.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, I mean, I have people that have been watching me wear these and build the business and all of that stuff for the last 17 months, and they're signing up now. So, I mean, I love what y'all say. Like, it really changed my mindset on one of the T3 calls, guys, and this is why it's so important that you, as much as you possibly can, you're either on the T3 calls or you watch the T3 calls, because every single week I get something that enhances my ability to share, and it helps me grow my business and communication and all that stuff. So get on there yourself or watch the replay, or make sure your downline has access to it. Because one time I just was frustrated, but you guys said, it's never a waste, so just keep sowing seeds, like just have grace for the people. And literally, because I'm so interested for a year, and I was just frustrated. Like, I was like, really? And you guys were like, just don't give up. And in the T3 call. And so I just released it out loud. I was like, Lord, I forgive her for constantly saying this, because I could feel my emotions are getting involved. And literally, it was like the next week she signed up.
Wow. Wow.
I love
I
that.
need to do that right now, Tiffany, because Kath and I have been working on somebody that we've never met, but she does like part of a payroll service for us. And Brandy.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just like, oh, I'm very interested. I'm talking to my husband. And how long's this been going on for? Like months,
Yeah.
And so I need to.
Grace, I love that.
Yeah.
Release it and keep
Yeah.
talking,
Yeah.
because you just don't know what the Lord's going to use in their life to turn their eyes toward this.
Yeah.
And if we stop, I made a phone call yesterday to my orthodontist, who is super sharp, and he's told me for 2 months, yeah, I'm going to watch that, but he never does. So I sent him a voice message yesterday, because I knew he was seeing patients, and I said, Doc, I don't want to be a pest, but I will be persistent with you, because I know what this is all about and you don't yet. And that's okay. But I don't want you to miss this for your family. So I'm going to keep messaging you. I'm going to keep talking to you when I see you every couple of months when I'm in for an appointment. And you just be persistent
She won't let me go into the office while he's working on patients' mouths and say, do you really want to do this for the rest of your life? That's what I would do, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's another approach. We won't go there. But yes, persistence with love in our hearts and the right motive, which we know you all have, speaks volumes to people. Because Tiffany, you're exactly right. Everyone you've talked to since you started is watching you. They're watching you, and they're wondering, and they're thinking, and they're questioning. They may not say it to you, but they absolutely are.
Yeah.
And so keep doing what you're doing, keep being persistent, and pray over those seeds, and watch what the Lord does.
And remember, when you find somebody that's really looking, guys, it's a lot easier, it's a lot faster.
Yeah.
So that's who we're looking for, right? So we want to get through the people in your pipeline, in your contact list, and your new list that you're building all the time. You want to get through those people quickly and say, hey, you're going to hear about this in the future. If you're not ready right now, I understand, but you promise me that when you're ready to get in, you're signing with me because I talked to you first and you owe me, right? You owe me. And, you're planting seeds of belief, excitement, and then you're
Yeah.
not wasting time. You're like
Moving on.
moving on. If they're asking questions, hey, if you're not looking for opportunity, you're just looking for product, I'm going to send you this as an info or invite you to a Zoom, then you're moving on quickly
Yeah.
because it can take a lot of time. It
Yeah.
can take a lot of time. And we're looking for that green M&M in the sea of M&Ms, and there's a lot of them out there. But we unfortunately have to go, we have to sift and sort to get to them. But it's fun. And that's what maybe we could leave you with this point is you guys stay in the fun phase of this. Maybe you've had the experience when you're talking to somebody about it and they're excited and you're excited and the excitement feeds off of itself. And it really is fun to share it with people. And then you've got your pipeline being built, and then you get one. And it's so fun to help that new person. They have a brand new list of people that
Yeah.
you can go into with them and make calls. Maybe you have to make some calls for them because they might just be too nervous. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Just invite people to the Zooms. And maybe if you want to do a few calls with them, pick up the phone and say, this would be an example call. Hey, Susie, this is Carl. I'm sitting here with Tiffany. We're talking about you. She says that you're a really sharp friend of hers, and she's told me about you. And we said, man, we got to call her and introduce ourselves to her and see if you're open and looking for opportunity, right? And just get into the conversation. And she knows her friends on the phone with you too. And it might be a little uncomfortable, but you guys, magic happens when you talk to people. It really does. And if she's not looking, that's okay. You've made another friend, you've made another contact, and watch what happens. The seed's been planted, right? Man, they were really excited about that. And they're making how much? Right. So I share the opportunity a lot and the financial end of this a lot because what we've learned is that will unfortunately motivate people much more so than in health benefit. And I know that breaks your heart, Tiffany, because you're in the health field, yeah. That's your heart for people, but people are they're hurting right now financially and they're looking for hope and opportunity. So don't be shy to share that side of it with people and your business will grow faster.
That's
Yeah.
so good. Well, a lot of people, if they had more money, they could be my clients. So
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and they could see a naturopath instead of having to trust Medicaid or whatever, Medicare to go see a medical doctor that just keeps them in the rat wheel. So anyway, we'll leave that alone. But thank you guys so much for being on today, Carl and Cathy. We just really appreciate you guys so much. I'm gonna stop the recording and it will be